Welcome to the Art of Money Podcast with Art McPherson.
And this is the Art of Money Podcast with Art McPherson and Luke McCarty, artofmoneyradio.com for more information on the McPherson Financial Group or to schedule that initial complimentary consultation. We appreciate you listening. Now, let's get to the show.
You're listening to the Art of Money with Art McPherson.
How did you come to meet Art McPherson?
My wife heard about him, I think, on the radio, and we had been through years with another financial advisor who didn't treat us very well. We ended up being flim-flam. So when we came to Art, it was very hard for him to sell to us, to get interested. But he knows his stuff, and we really liked him. Now, we had to go through 2 or 3 meetings to really get a trust together.
Yeah.
To be able to open up these finances, but we did it.
For more information on the McPherson Financial Group, visit artofmoneyradio.com.
Couple of clips from a great client event hosted by the McPherson Financial Group. That was Peter, and he said that it took a couple of meetings to really secure and lock down that portfolio. Art McPherson, is that common?
Yeah, I think so. And that's one of the reasons we don't ask anybody to make a decision until our second or third appointment, depending on the asset size and things like have. Because we want them to get a good feel for us and we want to get a good feel for them. And unfortunately, Peter was an example of that. People have had some bad experiences, so they need to know they can be at a firm that they can trust and that we really have their best interest.
There's nothing wrong with getting that second opinion. We were talking about it earlier in the show, and Peter is proof of that, who's now with the McPherson Financial Group. So as we roll into 2023, you're thinking, you know what, I do have a financial advisor. My needs aren't being met. Give Art McPherson a call. Let's sit down. Again, no obligation. You're not required to become a client. And more than that, it's a complimentary consultation. 321-425-8550. One more time, 321-425-8550. Let's just see the difference 60 minutes can make with Art McPherson and the team at the McPherson Financial Group. And gentlemen, there's been some confusion over IRS penalties tied to certain required minimum distributions. Now, it has to do with those who inherit retirement accounts and the RMDs that they're required to pay during the first 9 years of a 10-year period. The IRS says it's going to waive a 50% penalty for certain missed 2021 and 22 RMDs, but it adds it could change down the line. A lot of information there, Art. Make it make sense to me. How do you stay on top of these IRS rule changes?
Well, basically, that's in the favor of the client right now. So if they have received an inheritance, so I have a client we were working on this week that came in and they received, it wasn't a huge inheritance. It was about $100,000, but they had received money where no distribution had been done in the calendar year. So they still had to do a required minimum distribution based on the parent first. Then once that is completed in that calendar year, then the next year it starts on their life expectancy, their age. So if you don't do the required minimum distribution, the way the IRS treats that is once the IRS knows that you forgot to do it, you are taxed 50% tax on what was supposed to be distributed. Like an example like this, if you're receiving $100,000 as a gift and you might have to have taken $8,000 or $9,000 out for the distribution, if you have not done that, you're going to lose that $4,500 or $5,000 right off the front as tax. Then on top of that, that gets included as current income for the year. So you'll have other tax on top of that. So you may end up losing 65-70% of that money.
So the best part about this required minimum distribution penalty is that the penalty's taxed. So if half your money goes to the penalty, well, that half is taxed. And then the half that goes to you is still taxed. So that's where Art's coming up with, 65-70% of that RMD you could lose. And, what we're dealing with now, the client example Art was speaking to, I have another one as well that, even though this year, you're not required to take a minimum distribution on an inherited IRA, as long as it was within the 10-year rule after the Secure Act, right? Even though you don't have to, you still probably should, depending on your tax bracket, because the longer you wait to take that, right, that money has to be gone in 10 years. Well, our window of the Trump tax cuts getting shorter and shorter, so we want to actually push that money now while we're still in lower tax rates. And that's something that Mark Bernard here in the office looks at and says, yeah, even though this year it's not required, which just now came out, right? It's pretty recent that they said, oh, well, our guidance wasn't very well. We're the IRS, but we didn't tell you exactly what to do, so we're going to give you some leniency. We still feel that you should more than likely take that distribution because that whole account has to be gone in 10 years, and we're in a favorable tax period now for most people. It's very, dependent on your situation.
When you say favorable tax position, and we talk about the Trump tax cuts, how much longer do we have to take advantage of that?
2026 is the last year of the tax cut. So we're rolling to 2023 next year. So we have 3 years left. And then in 2027, the old code comes back. So if you're in a 12% bracket right now, it rolls back to 15. If you're in the 22% bracket right now, it rolls back to 25. And most people have part of their incomes in each bracket. So you're going to see, the 12 jump up to 15. Then you're going to see the current 22 jump up to 25. Our current 24 is going to roll up to 28 again. The income amounts you can make in those dramatically change. So right now you can make up almost $350,000 filing jointly and still remain in the 24% bracket. When it goes back in 2027, you'll have some of that being taxed at 32%. So you want to do it now. That's why Luke's saying we're trying to have those distributions happen tax efficiently.
And for my client example, it was either pay the 22% now or get into, a little bit into the 28% into the future. So, saving 6% on taxes, on a big sum of money is pretty big.
And, just because the Trump tax cuts extend for another couple of years doesn't mean you have a couple of years and just wait and then take advantage of it. You need to make the phone call now to reach out to Art McPherson and Luke McCarty. If you've got a question about how your RMDs are being taxed or how you can benefit with a better tax strategy from Mark Bernard, the in-house CPA, that number is 321-425-8550. And Art, you mentioned something at the beginning of the show, talking about just hanging out and watching TV. And you mentioned Yellowstone. Are you all caught up?
We have a mutual friend, Eddie, that we play golf with and we do some of these charity events with. Well, Julie and I had never watched Yellowstone this year. On one of our trips to the Eddie Nolan beautiful lake house,
right?
They go, we're going to watch the very first episode of Yellowstone so you can see it. And we got hooked watching that first show. And yeah, we are completely caught up. And every Sunday night we're watching the new series and we love it.
Don't spoil it. I missed last weekend. Don't spoil it.
The only thing, if I have one criticism, and this is Old Man Owens coming out, and I may be in the minority here, but just because you can cuss a lot doesn't mean you have to. It's almost like Paramount gave them the okay to drop the F-bomb as much as they want.
They gave Beth the okay.
Oh, my gosh. I'm like, there are other words in the English dictionary besides F. I'm just saying to the writers of Yellowstone. But speaking of money, it's one of the highest rated shows on cable right now and in streaming. And a successful TV show can pay big now and continue to pay big over time. So a couple of examples. Friends, TV show Friends, still makes Warner Brothers $1 billion a year because of reruns and streaming. So of that billion, each of the stars, they still get $20 million a year.
Crazy.
For a show that hadn't been on in, almost 20 years now.
For a show we don't even like.
For a show that I've never...
I don't know. I never watched it.
I'll be honest.
Did you guys watch it? Friends?
I was at the hotel the other night, out of town, and I watched it like 2 episodes in the morning.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was just rolling.
Oh, you like it? Okay.
I was rolling.
It
was the old day. I was just rolling at the drama they always have and just all the over the top silliness. But it was funny. I was laughing a lot.
I think I've watched, and I have nothing against it. I've watched maybe 2 episodes back in the day because the girl I was dating liked it. So I just did it for her. So that never really.
We're in the same boat. I don't think I've watched any of them, but according to Art, you get 20 million. You get 20 million. You get 20 million. Keep it rolling.
So for the stars of the Jen Aniston and the Courtney Cox, they've got it's called mailbox money or direct deposit money. But for the rest of us, is there a way in our retirement plans that we can build that mailbox money?
Yeah, basically have your assets set up so that it just keeps generating those checks every month, regardless of the market, regardless of what's happening in our world and our economy. You got to have that mailbox money where every month you have that paycheck coming in. You survive on a paycheck while working. You survive on a paycheck during retirement too. So got to make sure that's consistent. And because of market corrections or economic corrections, when we have an economy slowdown, we don't want that to affect our clients' mailbox money. So we want to make sure that's always consistent. And then way we kind of do it here at McPherson Financial Group is every 2 years, we like our clients to get a pay raise. So as the market has done better over time and they haven't taken money, they can actually take the same percentage out, but it's of a higher value, so then they can get a little bit of pay raise on that mailbox money.
So you can build a plan that offers us the mailbox money and even a raise in retirement.
That is correct. That is the goal of our plans. And, some of the ways we generate that money, right? That the easiest one is dividends. Certain companies pay dividends every month. Most companies pay dividends quarterly, but if you have those staggered throughout the portfolio, right, there's your dividend check every month if you do it correctly. Bonds can pay mostly quarterly, but some pay more than that or semi-annually. And you just have to have a plan that says, I need X amount of income every month or every 2 weeks or whatever it may be. And then you need a plan that creates it. And so you have to back into those numbers, and I need X amount every month. Okay, well, here's that pile of money. What do we do with the rest of it, right? And so then there's a plan for the rest of it, to potentially be more aggressive or be more, charitably inclined or whatever it ends up being. But there's definitely ways to get mailbox money, even if you're not a star of Friends.
With zero talent, you can still get that mailbox money. With the help of the very talented Art McPherson, Luke McCarty, and the team at the McPherson Financial Group, 321-425-8550.
Thanks for listening. Want more from Art McPherson of McPherson Financial Group? Find us online at artofmoneyradio.com.
We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Securities offered through World Equity Group, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Investment advisory services offered through ProStatus Group, LLC. McPherson Financial Group and ProStatus Group, LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by World Equity Group, Inc. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Investment financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. Art McPherson is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Arthur McPherson. Florida Insurance License number A174. 725.
Today's show has been a work of art.